What's up, guys? Your boy Gamer Continue, and I got another story for y'all. So, this happened back when I was 18, got my first car, and it was a Camaro, and it was red. So, I'm cruising around town, I'm feeling myself, you know what I'm saying? I got my subs in, I got my top down, I'm cruising, I'm doing me. So, in between all of this nigger tree I'm doing, because I'm playing very loud music, I'm doing me. The police do not like this, but they won't. I mean, they will stop you for no reason, but they won't stop you for no reason. So, somewhere between all of that, I had gotten into a fender bender, and I was 18. I was on the highway, and I clipped this woman, and since we were on the highway, I just didn't stop. I probably should have pulled over, but I didn't. So I kept going, and I ended up calling the police, and I let them know because I was like, I don't want to be like charged for like a hit and run or some bullshit, and then get caught up. So the cop was like, "Well, do you think the damage is under a certain amount of money, like I think 1,000 or something like that?" And I was like, "Yeah," because I was pretty familiar with cars. And he's like, "All right, well, there's no need to file a report." And I was like, "Oh, okay." But I left this big white scrape on my fender, and my fender was cracked. So I was just riding around with the cracked fender for a while. I had plans to fix it, but it cost money. So, fast forward probably 2 months later, I get this knock on my door, douche, 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 and I'm like, oh fuck. And I live with my mom, so I go to my mom's room and I'm like, hey, I didn't do anything. I've been here all night. I've been on Facebook just chilling, and it was like a Saturday. So I opened and before I opened the door, I have been already kind of told about police and like how to handle certain shit. And if you go to jail, you should probably dress in one solid color, otherwise they'll take you out of that color. I never been to jail, but that's just what I heard. So I put a hoodie on and black sweats just so I could hopefully stay in the clothes I was in if I were to get taken. Like I was already ready to go because that's just how shit goes sometimes. So I opened the door and they're like, "Hey, you want to tell us where you were at tonight?" And I'm like, "Whoa, hold on, wait a minute." I'm like, "Tell you where I was at." I'm like, "What?" And they're like, "Yeah, so where were you?" I'm like, "What's the problem?" And the cop was like, "Well, we see you got a fender bender." I was like, "Yeah, that happened a long time ago." And so the cop was like, "Okay, well, can we come outside?" And I was like, "Sure." So I came outside, and they're like, "You want to tell us about that light pole you hit?" And I was like, "What the shit?" I was like, "What? What light pole, dude?" I was like, "I didn't hit any light pole." And so they're just going back and forth with me, and they're like, "Yeah, we know you did it. We got pieces of your car. Your car is red. The pieces of the car that were by the light pole are red." And I'm like, "These aren't even the same color." I'm like, "These are two different reds." He's like, "No, they're the same color." And legitimately, guys, like these were not the same color. So I was like, they're fucking with me. And I don't know why. Like they're just looking for someone to get, and I'm the closest one in vicinity to the accident. So I'm like, I'm the suspect, and I'm black, and I'm young, and I'm 18. I got a Camaro. So I think they were trying to intimidate me. But my whole thing is like, I don't like to lie. So here's the deal: is what they said. They said if you just tell us you did it, we'll go away. And I didn't have a reason not to believe them. But I mean, you shouldn't believe the police like when they say shit like this. But my whole thing was like, I didn't do it, so there's no reason to confess to a crime that I didn't commit. Like I was actually like very upset, like I was mad. I was like, I'm not gonna confess to something I didn't do. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, you could sit here, we can go back for it all day. And I was like, what if I can prove when I got my fender bender? Because I had taken pictures of it when it had happened, and those pictures had dates in my old phone. Because I was talking to my mechanic about finding a new fender and how much it would cost, and he wanted to know what the damage looked like. So I literally grabbed my old phone, pull up the dates, and the dates conflicted with what had happened because it was prior. And they're like, "Okay, well, we still think you did it." And I was like, "Oh, nigga." So I was like, man, and they had me out, man, I'm telling you, dude, they had me outside for 2 hours just trying to get me to confess to a crime I did not commit. Like, they were trying everything. Like, they went from telling us, you did it till we'll go away to, like, well, we saw your mom there. And I'm like, my mom can't walk. Like, my mom has disabilities. Like, she's not able to just walk. So they had said, like, oh, well, she came and, I guess, picked me up or something. I don't know. Like she had came to the accident. I'm like, well, I'm not gonna just get out of bed for that. So I know you're lying. Like I was like, I know you're lying, and I literally have dates to prove when I've gotten in my accident. Like, well, why is there a white mark? So I told him I had hit a black car. I was like, I don't know, but me telling you that is just further proof that I'm telling you the truth. It's like I would obviously lie and say I hit a black car, that's why there's a black mark. But no, I left the white mark. Maybe the paint under the red was white. And to give perspective, it was like I said, a red Camaro. So after that, they had written me a ticket, and it was a summons to appear in court. I was like, why am I getting a ticket for something I didn't do? I'm like, and when they showed up, they had 3 cars. They had 2 squad cars and a paddy wagon. So I'm like, they're already about to take me to jail. That's why I changed my clothes. I'm like, they're already about to take me. So I was like, but they couldn't prove I did it. So the other car left, and they just sat there and literally like antagonized me the entire time I was outside. But I mean, I was cool. I was irritated, but I was cool because I knew in my heart of hearts I didn't do it. So after that, I ended up having to go to court. Never been to court before, so I went to court. My mom was there, and the cop was there, and his partner was there, and the judge was talking to us. And when you're in court, you have to ask everything in the form of a question. Like, I couldn't just say directly what they had said to me. But what they also didn't know is that I bought the Discovery, and the Discovery was the key factor of like the way I got off, because in the Discovery it said they had seen a 6 foot tall white dude driving, and I'm like I'm like 5'11" and I'm black, so I was like, so in the courtroom I had seen the witness. I'm like, do I appear to be 6 foot tall? He's like, no. It's like, do I appear to be a Caucasian male? And he said no. And then I looked at the judge. I was like, no further questions. So then the cop had their rebuttal, and it was the state that was coming after me. And they're like, well, it was also dark outside, and you got to remember that Mike might not have remembered exactly what he may or may not look like. And so I had to have my rebuttal, and I was like, but in the Discovery, it also stated that I was a white Caucasian male. I just want to take that note for the record that that's what he saw. It was a record that was deduced right after he had seen what had happened during the accident. So, also too, they weren't just dealing with their average black kid. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm more intelligent than that. I'm not like, yo, nigga, I ain't do it, nigga. You know what I'm saying, nigga, I'm free, nigga. Please don't do this to me, nigga. Come on, dog. You know, like I hit him with a lot. Like I'm articulate. I'm able to speak and to have critical thinking skills. You know, like I went to college. Like I can talk for myself. So with that being said, when I did pull out the Discovery, the cop was hecka surprised. Like his eyes got big, and I was like, "Oh yeah, nigga, I've been studying. I'm ready for this test." So, we're going back and forth, and the last thing that had happened was they have like their flat like. Even before that, let me rewind a little bit. I had given them pictures of my car to prove that I didn't do it. I also had looked at the video, and I had said that car had a sunroof, and then they had changed it, saying no, that car had T-tops, and I was like, that's some bullshit. So I told that to the judge. Also, at the very end, the judge asked, are there any more further statements? And I was like, the only thing I can tell you is that I have insurance. I've never lapsed in my insurance. I've always paid my insurance. And if I were to ever get into any kind of accident, I'm covered. Like, I'm not worried about getting into an accident, regardless if my insurance goes up or not. And then the state had their last rebuttal, and they're like, well, we should find defendant guilty because, whatever. I can't remember everything they said. And that was it. And I also, I think the thing that sealed it for them is that all cops have, like, videotapes of what they do to people. Like, they have to turn that shit in. And I had taken the tape, the CD, and I had watched it, and I told the judge, I was like, you need to watch this tape because your officers were literally trying to incriminate me during the interrogation. I'm like, they weren't like, where were you and what did you do? They were literally trying to intimidate me the entire time. And I said also too, I was supporting evidence of where I was at because I was so good with computers that I had pulled up my Facebook records. So I literally had my login times and log out times. And I literally broke it down like I logged into Facebook at 7:03. The accident happened at 7:05. I'm like, so what you're saying is I literally jumped off Facebook, ran up the street, hit the light pole, drove all the way back home, and then logged back on within like 3 minutes. Like I had my login times, like they were like back to back. That's what the computer said, and the dates matched up. Like I was on it, dude. And they didn't know, like, you can't mess with people who know technology. You can't, because I'm gonna be able to prove where I was at. Like there's always information. So the moral of the story is, if you're ever being in a situation where you didn't really do something and you need to prove your whereabouts, there are ways to prove that. So you can literally dive into your computer, because most people stay on their phones or their computers and pull up those sheets. So That's my story. Oh, and I got off too. It was sweet. They sent me a letter. I'll try to put it on the video, but they let me off and they said we find the defendant not guilty. And I wasn't. I literally was not guilty. But the judge was really cool. I had a really cool judge, and she ruled in my favor. And that was it, guys. So, I mean, I don't hate all cops. Not saying that you should go around saying "fuck the police" coming straight from the underground. You know? I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is cops are humans and they make mistakes, and you also got to remember humans have flaws in their characteristics. So that being said, everyone who is a cop isn't a good cop, and every cop that in the stigma that all cops are bad isn't true as well. There are also very good cops. I mean, I had a good judge and she ruled in my favor, and she was a white lady. So, you know, I hope you guys stay up. I hope you guys subscribe, like, and comment, and share, and I'll catch you guys in the games. Peace.